One of the things that crocheters and knitters don't realize when they're brand new is that they don't realize that they're ruining their yarn by creating little small little mini yarn balls. And so we see iconically a little yarn ball, you know, a needle sticking through it or a hook, and it's kind of like the symbol of crochet or knitting. But in actual fact, when we hand wind our stuff, we're actually ruining the yarn itself. And don't say that I didn't warn you, because it's absolutely true. And if you want to prove it to yourself, you can make a swatch, just like a 4-inch swatch. And then what I want you to do is make that swatch, then rip it out and roll it by hand into a ball. And if you try that swatch again, you're going to notice that you'll have a lot more yarn than you did when you first did it, because the act of rolling it has ruined the yarn. And that's because when you roll the yarn into a tight little yarn ball, you're stretching it to the point where it's changing the properties of the yarn. So a few things that you can do about that is that if you wanted to wrap your yarn and you wanted to do it by hand, you can still do it by hand. But what I do is that I keep my hand open. And so when I go to do it, I just kind of keep my fingers open like this, okay? And so I don't want to wrap it so that it's like going around the ball itself, but just to my hands. And my hand is keeping it from collapsing onto itself, just like that, okay? So if you want to get the iconic then spin to it, like a different kind of idea, what you can do is just release it, just kind of fold it down, and then just start and open up your hand again. Okay, and it will hold inside. And I know it does not look pretty, but what you want to do, what you're trying to do is prevent it from being wrapped really tightly around the ball itself. Okay, so if you want to change it out, remove your hand and do it. So it's not pretty, but what you're doing is you're not changing the property of the yarn by stretching it. The other thing that you can do, which I strongly recommend, is getting a yarn ball winder. And what we want to do is that we want to feed the yarn winder itself. Do you notice that there is a top piece here that is open? That is the same thing as your hand being open. And what you can do is that you can just spin your deflated balls or whatever you need to spin into a yarn ball like so. So if you hold your yarn like this, you can provide extra tension so that you'll have a tighter cake if you would like to do that, or you can just let it naturally happen into the yarn ball itself. Okay, so if I want to do this, so let me just spin. So I'm just finishing up and I got everything and it's done. So a couple options that you can do is that you see the center point right here? You can take the label that you have and just scrunch up the label into a little circle like this. And therefore you'll always know what the brand is. And you just want to place it over top of the hole of the interior. And the whole point of doing it this way is that when the ball is lifted off this thing, the ball will collapse towards the center, giving the yarn the ability to just relax. When we hand wind it with the yarn ball, we don't give it that ability because we're doing it tightly. So just put the label on the inside here and just shift up the ball so that the label will stay inside. You won't be able to get it in after you do this. So just shift it up and it will go around the label and the yarn will collapse onto itself towards the interior of the ball itself. And so this would be how you would make a yarn ball. That would be a lot more easier. So this will also give you the ability to pull the yarn from the interior if you would like to do that, or the exterior, and this here would be a yarn cake. So that's my options for you.